What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to this week's 2 out of 3 second episode of the greatest podcast on turf. We are back today with our fantasy football week 1 stardom sit-em. Be sure to check out yesterday's upload. We did our week 1 NFL game predictions, did some in-depth analysis on some of the games, some fantasy football players to watch, stuff like that. Tomorrow we are uploading our week 1 NFL best bets. We went through the bets that we're putting on every single one of the parlay cards we fill out this year. Again, this week. Again, today we're back with our fantasy football stardom sit-ups for week 1. If you guys don't already know, I'm Anthony.
I'm Ryan.
And real quick, before we get into anything content-wise, Ryan's going to tell you guys about today's sponsor.
Little Italy Pizzeria, best cheesesteaks, best pizza in all of Delaware. 2 locations. One of them is in Middletown, Delaware. The other one is in Townsend. It is a great family business. They're great food, great people, great prices. Be sure to come in and check it out. Let them know that the greatest podcast on turf sent you. They will take care of you. Show proof that you're subscribed or that you listen to us, and they will hook you up with an additional discount.
Here we go. Starting off, we're going to keep this one moving at all times. A lot of moving parts. Give me Lamar Jackson for the starting quarterback this week. I know to some of you that may go without say, but it is week 1, so there's not many QBs that need to get streamed or whatever. So I said start Lamar Jackson. He's one of the safest QBs you can start this week. Going up against a Jets team that, I mean, yeah, they've improved this offseason, but the biggest thing is they're playing without Zach Wilson. Joe Flacco versus Lamar Jackson. The guy that took Joe Flacco's spot versus Joe Flacco. Simple as that. The Ravens are going to win this one big. I like them covering the spread at 7 points. They're going to win -7. I really don't think the Jets have a shot. The Ravens running backs are banged up, as we'll touch on in a little bit when we talk about our sit-ems. So I think Lamar Jackson's going to have a lot of room in this game to make some explosive plays running the ball, hit some deep passes to Rashad Bateman, who, again, we'll talk about in a minute. Guy like Mark Andrews, another guy, one of the best tight ends in the league. This is going to be the Lamar Jackson show this week. Like I've been saying this week, the Ravens are kind of the forgotten team in the AFC North, and I know it's crazy to say. They were injured all last year. The Bengals went on and made a Super Bowl run. The Browns got Deshaun Watson, so there's all that hype, and the Steelers have their whole quarterback controversy, I guess you can call it, going on. So the Ravens have kind of been the forgotten team. They're all healthy. They had a great offseason. They had an amazing draft with Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum. So yeah, give me the Ravens big, and give me Lamar Jackson this week as my starting quarterback, and I think that you could be extremely confident starting Lamar Jackson this week against the Jets.
I'm going to be starting Derek Carr this week against the Chargers. Now, when I did this, Derek Carr probably isn't going to be a top 5 quarterback this week. I wanted to go for guys that you probably want to, pick up on DraftKings and just play. Guys like that, guys that you could stream week 1. Because I didn't like Lamar Jackson is obviously a start, but I just didn't want to do that. But Derek Carr, I think you can plug in on your DraftKings team to have some success. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Anthony has the over in that game. Yeah, J.C. Jackson is not playing for the Chargers, so it should be all wheels running for the Raiders. If Darren Waller's healthy, then that obviously helps out a lot more. But I think that both of these teams can score a lot of points, and you want quarterbacks on good teams. You want quarterbacks in games that can score a lot of points. Derek Carr checks both of those boxes. He's a gunslinger. And he'll probably be relatively cheap. He'll probably be outside the top 10 quarterbacks, and I think he could finish inside the top 10. So yeah. Derek Carr is somebody that you want to look at.
Be the way, something we forgot to mention. Thank you all for 400 subscribers. We really, truly appreciate it. It means a lot to us. We're starting the NFL season. We have our goals in our group chat itself. We're going to try and reach those goals. We're going to keep bringing you guys amazing content. So thank you guys for 400 subscribers, and cheers to many more.
Yeah.
For my sit-em quarterback, this is an easy one. I'm sitting Tua, turn the ball over. Tua's terrible. Going up against a Patriots defense that knows how to play against bad quarterbacks. Bill Belichick knows his way around a bad quarterback, and he's going to expose them. I don't care that they have Tyreek Hill. Patriots will figure out a way to shut him down, just like they always do when they play the Chiefs. When they used to play the Chiefs. I'm sitting Tua this week. Yeah, he's got Waddle and Edmonds and Tyreek Hill. I don't care. I think that this Patriots game is going to be a Patriots-Dolphins classic. Not a lot of points scored. Come down to the wire where hopefully Damian Harris doesn't fumble inside the 1 this time. And my Patriots are going to win, so I'm sitting Tua this week, and I'm fairly confident about it.
I just made a trade.
What'd you do?
I got Godwin and Saquon for DeAndre Swift.
Nice. Keep in mind, his fantasy draft was literally ended 10 minutes ago.
And I just hated DeAndre Swift, and now I have to dump Joe Mixon somehow. I will do it. I'm talented enough to do that.
Who are you sitting this week?
I'm sitting Matt Stafford this week against Buffalo.
Yeah.
It's a hard defense for one. The elbow has me a little bit worried. Matt Stafford isn't really like a top 10 quarterback fantasy-wise. He doesn't put up the high numbers that we want from a fantasy quarterback. Yeah. He doesn't put up the rushing numbers. And the elbow's banged up, so he can't run, and he might not be able to pass because his elbow's banged up. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting Matt Stafford this week. It's out of precaution. That was very rude. It's just out of precaution. Is there a chance Matt Stafford finishes as a top 10 quarterback at the end of the season and he's all fine and we're just assholes saying this? Yes.
Yeah.
But do I want to risk that week one? Absolutely not. So I'm going to be sitting Matt Stafford this week.
Yeah. Moving on next, we got this was a consensus start sit between Ryan and I. Travis Etienne Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's simple as this. Yeah, James Robinson is playing week one. Is he going to come out and be the James Robinson we saw the past 2 years, being one of the best young running backs in football? Probably not, because he's coming off an injury. I think Travis Etienne is going to have a big part in this offense under Doug Peterson. We also have Doug Peterson uses pass-catching running backs in Philly. I mean, he made Darren Sproles and Miles Sanders even look good. I mean, he made Jay Ajayi look like a stud. I mean, just shows what Doug Peterson can do with his running backs. I think Travis Etienne was definitely, he was a first-round pick, so he's got that talent going for him. He missed last year due to a foot injury, so technically this will be his rookie year. I think Travis Etienne's in for a great season. I think the Jags as a whole team are in for a great season. So this week I'm starting Travis Etienne against a very, very lackluster Commanders defense that didn't get much better this offseason.
My first starting running back this week, it is Antonio Gibson going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's really as simple as this. Brian Robinson was unfortunately shot, and it looks like he is going to be back this season. It looks like he is going to be healthy this season, and I think that he could take the job by then. But right now, it's Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick. I have Antonio Gibson having the lead over J.D. McKissick, so I think Antonio Gibson is a fine start this week. Against the Jaguars defense, that doesn't scare me too much, and I think he should be pretty much the only guy there. So give me Antonio Gibson.
My next stardom running back, I really don't like this one, but I mean, I feel like it's kind of there and you have to. It's Eli Mitchell going up against the Chicago Bears. The Bears got ran through all preseason. They lost a bunch of players on their defensive line. Bilal Nichols, Akeem Hicks to the Bucks. Khalil Mack got traded to the Chargers. And they really didn't do anything to make up for it. I think Eli Mitchell's going to come out here and solidify himself as the 49ers running back one. Come out here, solidify his spot, and end up being one of the steals of the fantasy football drafts this year so far compared to where he was going. So I think Eli Mitchell's in for a big game this week against the Bears, who got ran through by the Kansas City Chiefs backup running backs. Week one of the preseason and got ran through by every other running back they faced against. So give me Eli Mitchell this week. I don't have him in any leagues, fortunately, unfortunately, but if I have him, I'm going to be starting him in every league.
My next stardom running back this week, granted, this is only like a streaming type of thing because I'm not comfortable doing it on my fantasy team. It is Chase Edmonds against the New England Patriots. Patriots defense is not something that you want to mess around with. Granted, you could run the ball on them last year, but I'm not sure Chase Edmonds is going to be able to run the ball on the Patriots. I think he's more of like a pass catcher type of play. And I saw on DraftKings, somebody posted it somewhere, he's like $5,400. He's like the same price as like other backup running backs. Him and A.J. Dillon are like criminally low. So look for both of those guys in DraftKings. If they don't cost a lot of money and they can finish in the top 15, which I could see both of them guys finishing as top 15 running backs for week one of fantasy football, plug them in your team. See what happens. Nothing, you can't lose nothing.
And as I said earlier, we're going to talk about the Ravens running backs more this week. For my first sit-em running back, we're sitting J.K. Dobbins. He was rushed back from injury. He tried to rush himself back. He kind of put the narrative out there that he would be ready, even though he wasn't. We see him in videos on Twitter running through drills and limping afterwards after doing speed and quick feet drills. That's not a good sign for a starting running back in the NFL that you probably took a little too higher than he should have gone. I fell victim. You got to sit J.K. Dobbins this week. I think Lamar Jackson is going to be the primary runner for this Ravens team, as we've seen before. And even if Dobbins is 100% healthy, the Jets' defensive line really isn't anything to mess with, honestly. Quinnen Williams had a breakout year last year. I'm pretty sure they have both Lawsons, Shaq and Carl Lawson, who are both healthy. And it is a Robert Saleh coach team, but I don't think J.K. Dobbins is healthy at all. Honestly, and it sucks to say, but I can't start J.K. Dobbins confidently this week, especially, without seeing him play fully and after seeing him limping after doing full speed footwork quick drills. That's not a good look for a starting running back, so you have to sit J.K. Dobbins this week.
My sit running back this week, first one is Ramondre Stevenson against Miami. I do like the season-long outlook of Ramondre Stevenson. I just think it's going to take some time before he completely asserts himself in his backfield. So week one, you definitely don't want to play him against Miami, a tough defense. I just think that Damian Harris is going to probably get the majority of the touches. Even if it's 50-50, I don't think I want Ramondre Stevenson against this Miami Dolphins defense. It's not going to be a high upside week for him. Definitely keep him on your team, even if he lays an egg. I just think that it's Damian Harris's job for the start, and then it's eventually going to be traded.
I just realized I have Chase Edmonds in 3 of my 4 leagues this year.
Nice.
Yeah. My next sit-up running back is Cam Akers. Cam Akers didn't have his first full practice back up until last week, a week before the game, and he still really hasn't been moving 100%. I mean, we've been saying it all offseason. I really don't want any parts of this Rams running back room just because they still love Darrell Henderson. They loved to use him last year, even when Cam Akers was healthy. Even when he was splitting carries after they traded for Sony Michel, Darrell Henderson still had a major part in the offense. And the fact that they're playing up against a Buffalo Bills defense that hangs their head on their blitz and their pass rush, bringing in Von Miller, having guys like Ed Oliver on the team, Greg Rousseau, Carlos Boogie Basham, guys that you don't want to play with on the defensive line. And the Rams lost, 2 or 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen?
Yeah, 2.
So, I mean, again, that's really not a good look for a running back like Cam Akers, especially on a Thursday night, opening night game that has all the makings to end up being a shootout. And again, the Rams like to throw the ball to Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson has been practicing healthy longer than Cam Akers has this year. So this week I'm steering away from Cam Akers 100%.
Yeah, and with my next sit-on running back this week, it is Breece Hall against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
Reason being, Breece Hall. It's the same kind of reason as Ramondre Stevenson. He has not established himself in the backfield yet. Michael Carter is going to get the majority of the touches in a negative game script against the Baltimore Ravens, who are probably going to blow him out. Another running back that you can mention is James Robinson, Kenneth Walker, just guys that haven't asserted themselves yet.
Yeah.
That probably won't until like week 10. And guys that Breece Hall, you definitely drafted way too early.
Yeah, I did. I know. I did.
You're Breece Hall?
In the podcast league, or in one of the leagues I have him in.
And where'd you draft him? Too early?
Probably not, but it was probably... I have a feeling it was one of those picks where he was kind of just there, and I was like, why not? Same with J.K. Dobbins, why not have both of them, and Miles Sanders and Devin Singletary in the podcast league.
Yep, you're in last.
With Chase Edmonds and Derrick Henry as my starters.
What a squad.
Starting wide receivers, wrap it up. We got 8 guys we're going to tell you about the starting sit. My first starting receiver this week, Devontae Smith, going against the Detroit Lions. Amani Oruwariye, cornerback from the Detroit Lions, had kind of his breakout year last year. I think if Dan Campbell truly sees him as the cornerback 1, they're going to put him on A.J. Brown the whole game. I mean, Dan Campbell likes to do some different stuff with his defense, but from what I've seen, he likes to have his best corner follow the best receiver, which leaves Devontae Smith going up against Jeff Okudah, who is 3 years in the league now and hasn't played a full healthy season. I think he only played 1 game last year. Then he got hurt and missed all of his second-year season. So Jeff Okudah coming off 2 injuries back-to-back. I love that matchup for Devontae Smith, especially for an Eagles team. I think it's going to be very, very, very good this year. So I like Devontae Smith. If you have him, start him. If he's like your receiver 4 and you have guys better, go ahead and fade him a little bit and start the better guys. But if I have Devontae Smith in the league, I do. I'm definitely starting him against this Lions secondary that really is nothing to brag about or nothing to be afraid of.
This guy I'm about to mention, I have him in 2 of my leagues. He is one of my guys. This dude is an absolute stud. It is Rashad Bateman up against the New York Jets. It's a positive game script. The Jets allow a lot of yards, a lot of points to wide receivers in football. They have done it since probably the dawn of time. And
you don't think Sauce is going to shut him down?
No.
It's fair.
I mean, in theory, he could, but I think Rashad Bateman can work out the slide. He can avoid Sauce, and he's more established in the league than Sauce Gardner. The Ravens have 2 targets that they can throw the ball to. Before he says a word, they have 2 targets. There's Mark Andrews, there's Rashad Bateman. Bateman is going to get the ball. He's on your 32-man team, so
he is.
Start him.
I am.
Unfortunately. Rashad Bateman is going to get targeted a lot. He is going to be a PPR stud. He is a start against the Jets, and I think he could even score against this measly team.
And another guy you're starting in every league, you have him in Cortland Sutton against the Seattle Seahawks. It's simple as this. They don't have a cornerback worth a damn to guard Cortland Sutton. The Broncos are going to come in here. Russell Wilson knows how to play in Seattle despite all the 12th man bullshit. He played there his whole career. He's going to go out, throw touchdowns against a poor Seattle Seahawks defense, win his homecoming game, put up a lot of points, and it's simple as that. Start Cortland Sutton this week.
Yeah, and I will be starting Marquise Brown this week up against the Kansas City
Me
Chiefs.
too.
It's going to be an absolute shootout.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Hopkins is out. Zach Ertz might even be out. Rondell Moore might even be out. Marquise Brown is the only healthy receiver in Arizona, and that's never happened before with Marquise Brown on the team ever.
It's usually him being the non-healthy one.
Yeah, and Marquise Brown's going to be a stud back with Kyler. The connection's going to be back. It's going to be Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow 2.0. Marquise Brown's going to be a league winner.
Yeah. Next up, sit-em wide receivers. First one is Amari Cooper. This goes without saying. Jacoby Brissett has never made a receiver good. I don't care who he has. He's had T.Y. Hilton in his prime. He had Jalen Waddle last year. I mean, not saying they're anything special, but he don't throw to his receivers, especially against a secondary full of Dante Jackson, C.J. Henderson, and a healthy J.C. Horn. I don't think that this is a good matchup for the Browns in terms of offense. I don't think Amari Cooper was a good draft pick at all. If you drafted him, I'm sorry. I'm not sure why. He'll probably be on the same boat as Allen Robinson and Kenny Golladay were last year. Guys drafted higher than they should have been, and they'll end up on the waivers at some point. So that's your seasonal outlook for Amari Cooper. You heard it here first. You're sitting Amari Cooper this week along with every week, even when Watson comes back, because he hasn't played in 2 years. So if you have Amari Cooper, I feel bad, but you probably wasted a decent draft pick on him.
In my opinion, you are also sitting Michael Thomas this week against Atlanta. It is a decent matchup, but Michael Thomas just hasn't played a lot of football in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
This is a guy that you want to sit and just kind of wait and see, be patient. He could definitely still be hurt because his hamstring's bothering him. He might be going up against AJ Terrell, so that could lock him down. In my opinion, I got Chris Olave as wide receiver 1 in New Orleans, so that might slow him down a little bit. Also, it's just not a great situation for Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
I am sitting him this week.
Yeah, and the final guy I'm sitting is Deontay Johnson this week of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's simple as this. Mitch Trubisky hasn't started a game in a while. Against the Bengals defense that did play very good throughout the playoffs. They beat Kansas City down. They beat the Titans down. They hung in there with the Rams, who had the best offense in football in theory. So Deontay Johnson going up against the Bengals defense with Mitchell Trubisky throwing him the ball, you really don't know what you're going to get. They upgraded their secondary this offseason. They have Jesse Bates back. They drafted Dax Hill. They also have Von Bell, Mike Hillen, Trey Flowers, Chidobe Awuzie. I mean, they have a solid secondary. I just can't see a world where Deontay Johnson comes out and has a huge monster week. Again, like you drafted him to, I think it's going to take him some time to get acclimated with Mitch Trubisky throwing him the ball, especially with the emergence of George Pickens and maybe Chase Claypool having a bounce-back year, and with Najee Harris seeing a lot of touches. I've been saying it all fantasy football season. I'm fading the Steelers' offense this year, and I'm rocking with it with my Week 1 sit-em on Deontay Johnson.
I am going to be sitting Chris Godwin Week 1. I do like his season-long outlook. I just don't like him Week 1. He's battling an injury. You don't want to start guys fresh off an injury. You don't really want to draft them, if we're being honest. Chris Godwin just fell as to the 8th, 9th round. That's where you want to draft them. But, reaching on guys that are hurt, like reaching on a J.K. Dobbins isn't something you want to do. You don't want to draft players that are injured because you will get enough injuries in a football season. Don't find them. But Chris Godwin is a sit Week 1. He's going to be a start Week 4, maybe even a start Week 3. It's just a matter
of when,
Matter of when.
Yeah.
I don't trust it Week 1.
No.
You probably drafted him late enough to have other options.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I'm sitting Chris Godwin Week 1.
Yeah, no, if you guys have any questions, be sure to drop them below in the comments. Message us on Instagram or check out our TikTok and drop a comment. You guys leave a lot of start sit-em suggestions on TikTok in our comments, so we appreciate that. Thank you guys for watching or listening. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with our best bets.
See ya.
Peace.